Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Kristen with Monarch Plans, and today I am going to be doing a walkthrough of the Budget Mom's Budget by Paycheck workbook. I know a lot of you requested this video just because you're interested in what her workbook has in it, what it includes, and so I wanted to do just a very quick walkthrough. This is obviously the printable version. The actual workbook is currently sold out on her website. So she does have this printable version up, which you can print out and you can put in a binder like I have, or you can put it in like a binding if you wanted to take it and get it bound. So it's really up to you. I just chose to do the printable version, and I probably would choose to do the printable version regardless, even if the actual like full printed version came out again, which it will later this year. Because you can pick and choose which pages you want to print. So I'll talk about kind of the pages that I choose to print and the pages that I don't really have a use for. But I really do like it because you can print more of certain pages if you want to, or you can print none at all, just really whatever fits your situation. So let me get started here. So this is just the front page. You open it up, it'll have a name page. You can put your name on in case you want to take this out and about and in case it gets lost or anything like that. Then you turn here and there is your financial plan goal worksheet. So she has it broken out here with short-term goals, medium-term goals, and long-term goals. And she identifies those as within 1 year for short-term, within 5 years for medium-term, and long-term is within 10 to 15. I'm in the middle of filling out a lot of this stuff, so it's not completely filled out yet. I just am getting general ideas of maybe some goals that we have, and then I'll go through and fill out the rest of these. But this is really nice because it shows you kind of what is more in the immediate future that you might need to save for, and then what is further out that you can probably maybe start putting away some money here and there when you have extra, but it's not like the primary focus. This page is to keep track of memberships and subscriptions. So what she has here is the due date that it comes due, the list of the membership, the annual cost, and then the monthly cost. So it's just the annual divided by 12 to determine how much you might need to save each month in order to pay the annual cost. So I really do like this. I need to add a few more here. These were just the ones I thought of off the top of my head. There's a couple more that I need to do, like our gym memberships have an annual fee, stuff like that. So I'm really excited about this because it always feels like there's something that you forget in terms of like an annual membership or subscription, or you just kind of forget when it's coming due. So this is really nice to keep track of that stuff. This page is specifically a yearly savings page for goals and events. And so currently this year, these are the things that we're saving for. There's probably some other things. Again, I just haven't filled it all out yet. This is just kind of an example. But we have a couple cruises that we are going on. Our honeymoon, which who knows if that's gonna happen as we planned. It was supposed to be to Germany, which at this point I don't think Americans will be allowed in Europe for a little while. So we will see what happens. Same with our wedding. We'll see what happens. So these are just some savings goals. You can put in the yearly goal amount, and then you break that into the monthly amount, just dividing it by 12, the yearly by 12, and then the due date. So for example, we're going on a Carnival cruise for 8 days next, I believe September. And so our yearly goal, the total cost of the cruise is about $2,200. And so we just divided that out. The total ends up being about $158, and that's it from there. So the next page is then a yearly savings tracker. So you can take the goals that you established on this page. So you have goal 1 through 8 here, and then goal 1 through 8 here. And so you can show how much you're saving towards those goals each month. So it's kind of nice to see your progress. You can prioritize the goals on the prior page possibly, and show when they're fully funded. So maybe you fully fund goal 1 in April, you don't need to save for it anymore, so you stop. You can roll that savings into maybe goal 2. Really it's almost the same way as like a debt snowball would work, but it would just be a little bit different because I think a lot of people don't put the same amount into savings every month. So I don't know, maybe I can get into that later at some point when in a later video, how I maybe approach my savings. So I think this is really useful. It's just an overview of what your savings looks like, keeping track by month. And then, so those were the introductory pages. They're just general trackers, general things that don't really pertain to any specific month. Then you get into the monthly pages. So this is just a divider page that she has. Sometimes I won't print these just because it's a lot of ink and everything, but some of them are really pretty, so I really do like to include them. So I printed this, and then I printed out July. And you'll see here that I don't have all of the months printed yet. I just didn't want all of the months in my binder at one time. So I've printed July because I will be using July. So we'll go through July. Every month is the same. So you don't need to worry that I'm showing you July and not showing you January. Every month has the same stuff. It's just the month name that changes. The other really nice thing is that this is undated. And I know some people prefer dated, but I think this is really nice because I can use this digital book for years to come because it's not dated. So it was really a smart purchase for me, in my opinion, because it was a one-time purchase. I believe it was like $27 or $29 for the digital version. And I can continue to use it because it doesn't have any like 2020 specific stuff in it. So it comes with this first monthly calendar. I use this usually to put in, I'll put in obviously the dates, but I like to put in my paydays. I like to put in all my bill due dates. I like to put in when there's like automatic transfers to savings. And then there's this place for goals this month. You can also use this for notes, but I think this is just a really nice overview. What's also really nice about this is if you're familiar with the Budget Mom, it's budget by Paycheck. So she has Paycheck bill trackers here. So what you can use this for is writing down your paycheck and then writing down which bills need to be paid off of that paycheck. So a lot of people do that with highlighters. A lot of people do that with colored pens, stickers, anything like that, just to mark which expenses in your month are being paid with which paycheck that you're receiving. So as we talk about paychecks, the first page here is a paycheck bill tracker. So you would want to put in your first paycheck that you're receiving, and then it's pretty self-explanatory in terms of the different sections of this page. You put your income, your budgeted and actual, and then you total up your income. You have your bills, which are anything like electricity, car insurance, anything like that. The bills that come due every month, they're scheduled. Everything like that. That's how I use this section, or the scheduled bills that I have. Envelopes, I don't use cash envelopes. I always use my debit card, but what I use this section for are my more variable expenses. So these bills are ones that I know happen every single month. They're generally the same. Even if it's like an electricity payment, I can budget an amount for it, but it is happening every month, no fail. Down here is more variable expenses for me. So right here, I would put groceries, I would put gas, I would put dining out, I would put an allowance, anything like that that's kind of extra envelopes as said here. Like if you were to use cash envelopes, what would you be budgeting and spending towards that isn't like an actual true bill? Hopefully that makes sense. It's something that I kind of thought about a little bit when I was setting up my initial paycheck bill tracker, but that's what works for me. I know some people might do it differently, but that's just how I think of it. And what's really nice is that she has totals and leftover amounts, and essentially you have your income total. Down here, you would take your income and subtract your, or you would sum up your bills, and then you would take your income minus your bill total to get your leftover. You would take your leftover amount from here, move it down, sum up all your envelopes, bring your envelope total down here, and then subtract your envelope total from your leftover to get your new leftover. And so it essentially just rolls over into each of these sections. So you have your income, you pay for your, essentially your living expenses, your insurance, your electricity, your water, everything like that. Here, your rent, your mortgage. Envelopes are more variable spending. They're still probably necessary, like you need to eat, groceries are a necessity, but they're ones that you can probably budget around a little bit more than these bills. And then you can move into sinking funds, which are savings categories for upcoming expenses. Then you can pay down extra debt, then you can put extra into savings. So really, I think this is an interesting way to think about tracking your income and seeing exactly how much your income will cover. It's really eye-opening to see how much of your bills take up of your paycheck. It's interesting to see how much like your groceries or your dining out takes up out of your paycheck. It's just very eye-opening to do it this way versus just kind of coming up with an arbitrary number for the entire month at once. So after this paycheck bill tracker, there is a cash envelope breakdown. Again, I don't use cash envelopes, but if you do, every paycheck you would go through and you would write your category here and the amount, and then when you take out cash from the bank, you would write in how much or how many of each denomination you received. So it's a way to keep track of the cash that you have. There's a spot for notes. As I mentioned, with this digital version, I can pick and choose the pages that I want to print out. This is a page that I don't print out because I don't use cash envelopes. I will often print out more of these because I like to track all of my paychecks, all of my fiance's paychecks, and sometimes my Etsy paychecks. So after this cash envelope breakdown, you get into another paycheck bill tracker. So it'll be your next paycheck, you would budget again, another cash envelope breakdown, another paycheck bill tracker, cash envelope breakdown, and essentially there's enough for every single week of the month. So you'll see we had, I believe there's 5 right there. So you can track every single paycheck you receive. There's 5 of them here. As I said, I sometimes print out more, so that's really handy. Then you get into your expense tracker. So you would put your starting balance of your checking account up here, and this is where you write down every expense that comes out of your account. You can put which account, if you have multiple accounts, the transaction, what category it falls into. So for example, I use groceries, dining out, bills. I'll just put bills if it's a bill that goes into this category here. So if it's like electricity or water or anything like that, I'll just put bills. And then the amount withdrawn, and then you can also keep track of deposits and then keep a rolling ending balance here so you know exactly what's in your account. There's multiple expense tracker sheets. I also usually print out more of these than they have just because we do have a lot of transactions. Sometimes 4 is enough. There's 4 included. And then you get into your debt payment plan. So you can list out all your creditors, your balance, your interest rate, minimum payment, and then the order you'd like to pay them off in. There's a section for extra debt payments, so you can note who you're paying and the extra amount you're paying. And then you can put here the total debt payments that were made. And then here at the bottom is a place where you can keep track of your monthly debt progress and your overall debt progress. So that is really helpful to see kind of how you're able to pay off your debt over time. So this is definitely very helpful when you are working on paying off debt at all. The next page is a monthly net worth tracker. I usually don't print this out. This isn't something really on my radar at the moment. I know my net worth is pretty negative because of student loans. I don't own a house, nothing like that. So you can keep track of your assets and your liabilities and figure out your total net worth and then compare to last month to see if there's been any increase, decrease, anything like that. So that's helpful just for informational purposes to see kind of how things are tracking along, especially as you're paying off debt, everything like that. So that's a helpful sheet. And then we get into these pages that are specifically for where did my money go. So this one is the monthly budget category breakdown. So you would put your starting balance in your checking account or whatever account you're following or tracking, your incoming income, and your total monthly income, which is these summed. So then you would write in your budget categories here, and that could be groceries, it could be dining out, anything like that. You can come up with your own budget categories. The monthly budget you set the monthly spent amount, and then the difference and your percent of income if you wanted to figure that out. So that just helps you see which categories maybe you are over budget or under budget. So that's really helpful to kind of see that at a higher level, kind of on the monthly level instead of like at a paycheck level. This next one, where did my money go, is for monthly debt and savings. So debt, you have your total monthly income, your monthly debt payoff, and figuring out what percent of your income is going to debt. Same with savings, total monthly income, total monthly savings, and percent of income saved. Here you can break it out specifically by certain debt categories. If you have different like goals for your debt that you're saving towards, you can mark them here, same with savings. So it's a good way to break out and see, again, how much you're able to contribute to both debt and savings each month. This is really helpful. It's a monthly spending comparison. So you can compare how much your income has changed from one month to the next. So it would be comparing June and July. Then here you would have your budget categories and the amount spent for June, which you could just take off your prior page or your prior section when you're done with June. And then you have your amounts for July. Then you calculate the change and you see whether July, maybe you spent a little bit more, maybe you spent a little bit less compared to the prior month. So it is kind of eye-opening to see, you know, whether or not you are trending upwards in terms of your spending, or whether you're staying relatively the same, or maybe you're spending a lot less and you're able to save more. It's interesting to see it kind of side by side like this. And then finally, there are these little cash envelope teller slips. So you can cut along these lines, and this is what you would hand to the teller if you were trying to take cash out of the bank. So you can mark how many of each type of bill you want and the total value and the total amount withdrawn, and the teller can easily go and grab the bills that you want. It's a little bit easier than going and telling them verbally, I want this many ones, this many 10s, this many 20s. It can get really confusing, so it's just nice to have them all printed, and then you can just hand it to them, say this is what I'm needing, thank you, and you're done. So that is it for the monthly pages. There are also some free printables on the Budget Mom website, and I'm going to show you one of them that I did print out that I will be using. It's a yearly spending overview. So I will be tracking how much I spend in different expense categories every single month. Same with income every single month, so I can see how that's changing. You can see total expenses, you can see total balance down here. And then on this side, there's the yearly balance overview. So we have our savings balance, our debt balance, retirement balance, and our net worth throughout every month. And then here you can graph everything. So if you wanted to graph maybe your savings balance or your debt balance, you can create graphs with that information. So it's kind of nice to create a visual here. For some people, I know graphs and charts really make a lot of sense. So this is really helpful. So ultimately, and as I mentioned, the rest of the months are all the same. I have like August and September in here as well, but there's nothing different, you know, in those later months. So that is the Budget by Paycheck workbook. As I mentioned, you can get the printable version or get the actual printed version, which is coming out later this fall. This has been really helpful for me. I think breaking out information or breaking out my finances by paycheck is really eye-opening, because it tells me really how far my money is going every single time I receive it. So it's definitely a different thought process than some people's budget. It works for some people better than others, but I think that it's just a lot of good information to have. So even if you want to go on to her website, I believe she actually has some of these paycheck bill trackers that are just blank that you can try out if you'd like on her website. I believe you can just print a few of them and try it at least and see how you like it, but it's always really nice to have like all of them in one spot in one booklet. So that is one thing to consider. I will link the Budget Mom's website in the description box below in case you are interested. I don't have any like affiliate links or anything like that, so I just really enjoy her stuff. I also have her Live Rich planner, which I will be doing a walkthrough of sometime soon as well. So keep an eye out for that one. And just really, I find that her community and the products she comes out with are really helpful and really good information. So if you have any questions about this or any of your own experiences that you want to share with the Budget by Paycheck workbook, please leave a comment below. I would really love to see other people who maybe use this and how it works for them. And if you're thinking about trying it but don't really know, just let me know if you have any questions. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you later. Bye.